You're listening to the Parents of Hardworking Teens podcast, episode 39, with 3 questions you can ask your teens' teachers at Parents' Evening, including a special free download that I have made for you on it that will help you get tangible takeaways and feel like you actually know what is going on with your teen's study without feeling like you're grilling their teacher, or maybe you'd love to grill the teacher, in which case these will also work. You just ask them without smiling. I'm Katie Jones, and with over 15 years in education as an award-winning high school teacher, international external examiner, and as a study coach, I've helped thousands of students skyrocket their results and confidence. And this podcast is where I share all my insights, tactics, and tips with you, the parent, so you can help your hardworking teen get happy, smart, and successful in their study, and have you both enjoy the journey along the way. This is the Parents of Hardworking Teens podcast. Hey VIPs, how are you going? I hope you are doing amazing and that the year is going really well for you and your team so far. I cannot believe that we are into March already. Time is just flying by, though I don't even know why I comment on time flying anymore. I think past the age of 30, that's just what it does, and it just seems to keep on getting faster. But on the topic of time and the month of March, actually, in fact, I have been doing a lot of planning lately. The team and I basically planned out the whole of the rest of this year for Rock Solid Study over this past couple of weeks. And normally we don't plan right through the whole year, but I kind of had so many ideas and great things in mind that we really wanted to do that we ended up just planning out the rest of the year. And if you know me by now, I love a good plan, and I actually really enjoy the planning process and the actual process of organizing everything. Basically because I am the opposite of the go with the flow person. I'd really sometimes like to be more go with the flow, and definitely sometimes it is something for me to work on for sure. But when it comes to the act of planning and being organized, it is definitely a good thing. It definitely suits me and I love it. And it now means that I also get to enjoy the bonus of being really excited for everything that I know is going to be happening. That includes things like our next level open enrollment and semester event, which will be happening in May. So any of you who have teens who have already graduated the 10WGT or will have done by then, definitely look out for that. And before that, we also have a live webinar event that is now officially booked in for the 30th of March, Thursday, the 30th of March. So mark your calendars for that and make sure that you're on my email list so that you get your free invite. Because this one is extra special. Because instead of just running it for my VIPs, my very important parents, that's you, whether you're a parent, a carer, a guardian, or just a wonderful person doing the parenting thing, I am actually tailoring this webinar for you and your teen. Because I've had a fair bit of feedback now saying, hey, that you would love for your teen to hear this stuff directly from me or learn my strategies directly. So that is what I'm doing. So with this webinar, it's called Get Your Busy Teen Organized and Efficient in Their Study so that they get more done faster, but also at the same time get more marks in the process. I am making it for you and for your teen. I'm making it for students and parents. So be sure to attend together when that invite and when that date comes along, or of course, just one of you is totally welcome to just do that too. But I ran this webinar last year and it was just aimed at parents back then, but it was really popular. So I thought this would be a great one to adapt so that it is suitable for students and parents, because it really is some of my best content. And actually, I kind of ended up saying it's more like a workshop. And I've got to tell you, I do keep toying with the idea, and this is something we talked about during all of the planning, with the idea of charging for my webinars. Because I know that most other education or teen experts and speakers do charge. And I often get told by business-minded people that is what I should be doing. And I also get feedback from parents telling me that they got so much out of what I delivered there. And so I will tell you that for this upcoming parent and teen webinar on the 30th of March, mark your calendar, this is definitely one where I considered turning it into a paid event, because it's super practical and is full of some of my top strategies. But to be honest, I want to run a parent and student free event first before I potentially switch to being paid. And really, really, honestly, I just don't want to spend right now the time and effort on setting up all of the payment stuff. That is really the honest reason behind it, because having a paid event is never just as straightforward as setting up a payment page on a website. There is a lot of connecting and linking between the payment and then the registration on all of the back-end admin and webinar access logistics that also needs to happen. And right now, with the new upgrade that I'm making to deliver this for parents and teens, I just don't want to add all of that to the list. But I may decide to charge for things like this in future. So it's a little heads up, and definitely make the most of it while I am keeping this free. And talking of parent and teen events, smooth segue here. Today, I want to talk about parents' evenings. Or at least that's what they used to be called. I think these days they get given all sorts of titles like parent-teacher meetings, conferences, interviews, maybe parent-teacher encounters. Just joking. I don't think I've heard one called that. But of course, I'm coming at this from the teacher perspective, not a parent perspective. But I'm hoping that will be helpful for you, because in my experience at least, what I think often happens is parents and carers and your teen, if they attend with you, sort of sit and listen while we as the teachers mostly talk at you and your teen. And that can obviously be really informative. And I know that's kind of what you're there for. But as a teacher, I actually really love it when parents ask me questions. And I think there can be a lot of benefits to you as the parent. And of course, I say parent in the meaning of anyone in that role, the parent, the carer, trusted adult, guardian. I think there can be a lot of benefits to asking some great questions to get some more specific and actionable feedback that will be of most benefit to you and your teen. Especially, I think this is the case, if you have a teen who is already doing all of the right things. They're doing their homework, they're studying hard for exams, because that's often when you get told about their great results, which maybe you already know about, or you get a nice anecdote or story about something great that they did in class, which are for sure wonderful to hear. But then when it comes down to advice going forwards, it's then sort of simply, just keep up the great work, which they were probably already planning on doing. Or it's things like putting their hand up more in class. Like that's something they could improve, which they have zero intention of doing, if we're really frank about it. That's just not going to change or happen. Or it could be some advice like doing wider reading, which if you've ever heard me talk about extra research or wider reading before, you'll know it is very low on my list of things that I believe students should be doing when it comes to their actual study success and the results. If they want to do it just for fun, that's all good. But for me, it barely even makes it onto that list, actually. So all good if they're just interested in a topic and want to find out more just for fun. But I'm not going to get right into all of that right now. If you want to hear more about the whole discussion of wider reading, for me at least, you can take a listen to episode 19 for a bit more on that. But what I want to do today is talk to you about 3 questions that I have come up with that you could ask at your teen's next parents' evening that'll give you tangible takeaways and have you feeling like you really know what's going on, but without necessarily feeling like you're grilling their teachers. Not that you can't grill the teacher. In fact, I was totally grilled in literally my first parents' evening as a newly qualified teacher. And to top it off, it was by a parent with a child in year 7 who was in my geography class. And that parent was a high school teacher herself. So I was kind of feeling like, pretty sure we should all be on the same team here and being nice to each other. But she kind of thought that it would be fun to test how good I really was. And it really did feel like I was getting a second interview. In fact, like maybe that's where that phrase of parent-teacher interviews comes from now I think of it. Because she was asking me things about how I adapted my teaching strategy for different types of learners, how I differentiate tasks and activities, how I cater for different students, structure my lessons, all the things you get asked in a full formal interview. And I do have to admit, I was a little bit taken aback, but I actually did relish being able to give her all of my full and complete answers to all of that. It was only after she'd finished her grilling of me, it was only at the end that she then said, "Oh, it's okay. Like, I'm a teacher at so-and-so school, and I just wanted to see how you do all the things over here." And I was like, well, we could have maybe started out with that and then just had a slightly nicer or maybe more laid-back chat about it all. But hey, it was all good. And just to be clear, like I said, I really do like it when parents ask me questions at parents' evenings. Otherwise, it can just feel like I'm talking at you, which I know I can talk for England, so it is not a problem. But still, it's probably nicer for both of us when a parent or carer asks me the questions. And I think it's because it also means that we can also have more of a sort of conversation rather than a one-way presentation. And I'll then be ending up sharing information maybe in a different way to the kind of routine that these things often sort of slip into. And we'll end up discussing something that we might not have gotten into otherwise. So here are 3 questions that I've come up with that you could ask. And so that you don't have to try and write these down while you are driving or walking or food prepping or whatever you are doing while you listen to this podcast. Those are my usual podcast listening times and activities. I've made a free PDF download for you with these questions plus a couple of bonus tips in there as well. And you can grab it for free at www.rocksolidstudy.com/39. That's the numbers 39. I will put the link into the show notes so you can just scroll and go grab it directly there. And then you have it to refer to and just keep whenever you are next going to your teen's next parents' evening. So, the first question is, what is their current target grade and are they on track to meet it? This should open up a conversation about not just where they're at, but also where they're going. What's their potential? Whether they're currently meeting it. And it'll give some more opportunity for discussion around that. Like maybe the target is higher or lower than you or your teen was thinking. And that will certainly be good to know if that's the case. Or you could maybe dig a bit deeper on how that target has been set. Like where has that come from? And the next question is, why? Why are they or aren't they on track to meet that target? What are they doing successfully? And or what are the areas that maybe need addressing? So this is a way of seeing how they're currently going in class or in homework and assessments. But I think it gives a more focused way for that discussion to go rather than just, hey, how are they going? In particular, you could then also take this further in terms of how they'll be assessed. So what types of assessments will there be, and then consider what sorts of skills they're going to need in order to be successful in those. So for example, to meet their target this term or this year, will they need to be an excellent essay writer or exam taker or speech maker? How do the types of tasks that they're going to be doing relate to how likely they are to achieve their target? What are their strengths or areas for improvement right now? And how do they relate to that target? And then the third question is, what can we or they, so we as the parents or they as the student, do to help them improve? So that's how you would word it to the teacher. So for example, are there any specific examples of exercises or resources that are going to help them to improve? Or perhaps consider what improvement really means to you and your teen and make sure you're on the same page with that as the teacher. So share that with their teacher because it might not necessarily be about increasing their results. Perhaps it's for you more about them keeping the same result but doing it with less work or stress or time spent to achieve it. So, for example, the teacher may not know that they redrafted that essay 4 times and it took them way longer and a ton more stress than it should have done. Or improvement could mean having your teen be more organized or clear on what they're doing. In which case, blatant plug, make sure you're on my email list and come and look out for the invite to the webinar and come to it that I'm running on Thursday, 30th of March. But hey, you could also ask their teacher. And like I said, don't worry about trying to get all of these written down. I have made a special freebie for this episode with those 3 questions all listed out and the explanations, plus 2 extra bonus tips that I've put in there as well. You can get it for free at www.rocksolidstudy.com/39 for episode 39. And I'll wrap up by saying, if you'd like to ask me any questions, if you want to grill me, then I am totally up for it. You can always send in your questions to support@rocksolidstudy.com, or you can bring them along to the webinar that I'm going to be hosting on Thursday, 30th of March. Get your busy teen organized and efficient in their study without them sacrificing their grades and actually increasing their results, their confidence, and their success in a sustainable way. I'm going to be hosting an open Q&A at the end of that webinar, so you can bring along your questions there and have me answer you live personally. So I hope that you find the Parents' Evening questions that I've shared with you in this episode helpful to get the most out of your next Parents' Evening or conversational consult or whatever other fun title it is given at your teen's school. And I hope you have an excellent rest of your week. I will meet you back here next week for another episode. No need to book in an appointment to meet me. You've always got a seat saved right here on the podcast. I'll see you back here then. Bye for now. If you're ready to have your teen achieve their best possible results with less stress, then I want to invite you to enroll them in the 10-week Grade Transformation Program, where they're going to learn the key concepts, skills, and strategies to catapult their performance in assessments and exams. It's risk-free. They either achieve bigger and better results with a whole lot more confidence in 10 weeks, or we refund you in full. Just head over to www.rocksolidstudy.com/program, and I'll see you there.